How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build that positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about how to release negative energy, how to forgive ourselves, how to step forward into the positive light that is destined for us to experience. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So you're going to pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say this word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive perspective. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. Well, before we get started, if there's something in this episode that resonates with you, that you find uplifting, if you're on Spotify or YouTube, you can actually leave a comment below. Not only do those comments help me feel connected to you and let me know what it is that you enjoy, somebody else might read your comment and that might inspire them to give this episode a shot. And my mission is to make this the #1 mindset podcast in the world. And the best way to do that is together. So if there's something powerful within this that you feel would be helpful to someone else and you leave a comment or you share it, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I could never thank you enough. With that, let's dive into today's episode. So I was thinking a lot about struggle, setbacks, failures, missteps, because those are part of life. And a lot of times that's where a lot of our negative dialogue, which in turn is negative energy, comes from. How many times have you thought, I messed up my diet again. I messed up my meditation plan. I'm not being who I said I was going to be. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I didn't do what I said I wanted to be. I didn't become something. I always seem to fall back. I can't stay consistent with my habits. How often do we beat ourselves up with this? I know I'm victim of it. I know I've done it many times where I said, okay, tomorrow the diet starts, and yet it doesn't. Or I say, I'm going to wake up at this time, and then I don't. Or I'm going to handle this thing and it doesn't get done. And it's something that is in alignment with my higher self, but yet I don't do it. Why do we go to that place? Why do we fail ourselves with what we commit to and then reinforce it with negative energy? If what I believe is true, or if I'm going to believe it as truth, and if it's something that you're going to believe, and that's our words have power, that our words represent frequency, our thoughts, the things that we say, the things that we hear, if they have value, why would we have a setback and then reinforce it with negative energy? We think the setback causes the negative energy, and maybe it does. But what if our perspective is what we should be uplifting all the time, and that even in a setback, even in a failure, there's opportunity for growth? That doesn't mean you just brush off when you fail, when you don't hold yourself to the standard that you set. But you can have a different perspective, a different thought process than beating yourself down, than saying, I knew I'd mess up. or saying, I am not what I think I can be. I can't stay positive. I always, start something and then I fail. You don't have to do that. If you make a misstep, the solution, the path forward, the way we all grow is still the same. It's positive reflection. When you have positive reflection, you truly look into what caused you to do what it is that you did or didn't do. It causes you to really think about what is affecting you, what is pulling you down, who are you? And when you're doing positive reflection, you can find something good in there. You know what? I realize that even though I didn't commit to what I said I was going to do, or I didn't complete what I said I was going to do, there's something inspiring me to make this change. I have to figure out what I can adjust to make it happen. You see, you are not the thing. You're not even you. You are the observer of this experience and the observer of you. You also create what it is that you observe. So if you get into a negative mindset about your mistakes, you are going to observe the negative actions you took, the setbacks, the failures, and guess what? You will create more of it. But if you can focus on the good, on something that you did, even if it was just the idea for change, and expand that, it's going to set you up for success going forward. You see, it's not as it is, even situations. I say the world is not as it is as you are. It's the same with experiences. It's the same with everything. It is never as it is. A mistake or a setback or a failure is not black and white. It's not just a mistake. It's not just a failure. It's not just a setback. It's an experience. And there's experiences that propel us forward. There's experiences that propel us backwards. But our perception of them is really what dictates what happens. So instead of giving so much value to a mistake or so much energy to a setback, we have to pay attention to them. Focus on your perception of them. It doesn't mean you let yourself off the hook every single time that you make a mistake. It means that you use positive reflection to figure out where the breaking point was. What was it that caused you to go in the wrong direction? And then find what needs to be healed within there. Find what needs to be forgiven within there. Find what needs to be empowered within there. You are not your mistakes. In fact, you're not even your wins. You're the observer of both these things. You are not this world. This is not what you truly are. You are something more. You are experiencing this. Once you start looking at your life like that, once you start looking at the ups and downs as just lessons, you no longer get attached to them. When you're no longer attached to them, you don't need them to be a certain way. And you realize that it's always a journey inward. Whether you make a mistake, it's a journey inward. Whether you have success, it's a journey inward. Love is always the way. The war on something, like if you make a mistake and you get angry at it and try to just work harder at it, that doesn't solve anything. If the war on X is going to solve X, I haven't seen it yet. The war on something just creates more war. What we focus on expands. So you're going to continually focus on what you're doing wrong, or will you look at the entirety of the picture? We have to see where our mistakes are. Don't ignore them. But then look at the good. Take that energy within you and then problem solve. Problem solve from your higher self. Your higher self is undefeated. Your higher self is infinite energy. You just have to connect to it. Whether you believe your higher self is something like an extension of you, the universe, God, whatever, resonates with you, that version of you that's connected to the source cannot lose. In fact, knows that everything happening here is an experience for you, not against you, even the mistakes. How much power are you willing to give yourself? There's a saying, with great power comes great responsibility. The responsibility of it is expansion of love, whether you're reflecting on yourself or the world in its entirety. What is it that you want to create more of? That's what you focus on. So don't beat yourself up if you were supposed to be on the diet and you failed. There's always now. In fact, if you did it for 10 days straight and then you were off right now, then you just have to correct now. There's always now in who you choose to be. I'm not sure where the episode's going to come out this week because I've been recording them in advance. But there's another episode where I talk about why the bad things happen, why the difficulty happens. Because without it, if everything was perfect, if everything was love, if everything was joy, and then you were that love, that peace, that joy surrounded by it, you don't have a choice. So you're not really it. You're just a reflection. You are more than that. You are an observer and a creator that is here to create more love. So if there's an experience where it's absent and then you choose to bring it, you become the creator of love. You understand it more. You expand it more. That's your purpose. So whether it's your mistakes that you personally make, a family member, a friend, or the world, there's plenty of them. Recognize them, learn how to grow from them, but most importantly, expand the love. That's the only thing that matters. Can you look at something, find the love in it, and expand it? Or can you look at something, find the absence of love in it, and bring love to it? That's the only measuring stick, and that's something that you always get to work on. There is no finish line. There is no point where you're done with this. It's always the journey. That's the experience of this life, is to elevate our frequency and allow us to learn how to control it. It's all a gift. So give yourself that forgiveness, give yourself that perspective, and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a positive perspective on whatever it is that you've been struggling with or trying to work through. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It will keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group all down below. And if you listen to this episode and you're ready to make that next step, I actually have one spot available currently with my one-on-one mindset coaching program. It's all about doing these things. It's about creating the version of you that you want to become, breaking the old habits, changing the perspective, filling you with that positive energy so that you become someone that knows how to shift, that knows that they're in control. And if you want to manifest something, you can from a positive state. This is what I do. I'm a mindset coach. I help you with this exact thing. If you want more information, the best way to reach out to me would be Instagram, so we can communicate there. There's also a link below. If you fill that out, I will get back to you and we can talk about how this program could be right for you. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.